Shiva, 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 Shiva.
Hi guys, this is your host NJ. So today we'll discuss the most important vertical of palmistry, which is the relationship palmistry. And the topic which we are going to do today is whether someone's hand is made for, someone's life is made for love marriage or arranged marriage. So before I'll start this topic, two ground rules which I am going to set over here is that first of all, your live-in relationship will also be categorized in the column of love marriage, and the cases of homosexuals and lesbian will also be treated as the same like any other normal marriage. So coming to the concept in hand, which is of love versus arranged marriage, I just need to first make you people familiar of the basic terminologies which I am going to use over here, so that even if you are a budding palmist or you are just learning it from the scratch, so you won't face any problem in understanding this very important video. So the first thing which you need to understand is the mount of Venus. So this is our mount of Venus, so which is being encircled by this green line, which is also known as lifeline. So this mount of Venus tells about your love, your compassion, your emotions, your generosity, your sexuality. And pertaining to this topic which we are doing today, this portion also tells about your family ties, your relationships within your family. So that is the only reason why in our Vedic scriptures, the Samudik Shastra, this place is also known as and represented as Bhatristan, the place of your brothers. Next, the other terminology which you need to understand is this mount of moon. So this place tells about your intuition, your imaginativeness, your popularity, and this place also tells about the other people, the strangers. So this place, this mount of Venus, tells about your family life, your family relationships, and this place tells about your strangers and all the people whom you do not know. So we have discussed that. Now comes the very important concept, which is our fate line, which is also known as destiny line, and in some texts it is also this represented as the wealth line. So any line which is going towards this middle finger, that is known as fate line. So it need not be reaching the tip of the the end of the middle finger, but any line which is moving towards the middle finger will be known as and seen as the fate line. So it will be something like this. So it can just start from here, from anywhere, but as long as it is moving in the direction of the middle finger, it will be known as the fate line. So this fate line tells about your sense of purpose, your determination. Every morning when you are waking up, you have a certain goal to achieve, your ambitions. So that all is being covered by your fate line. And lastly, the line which you need to know, the concept which you need to know is the union line. So when we call it union line, so there has too much of confusions and too much of different principles and the notions which has been ascribed to this line. So many palmists even call it as marriage line. Many people even many palmists even call this line as the line of sexuality. So I just have only one thing to say on this. If this line tells about your number of marriages, if this line tells about your sexuality, then how can this line be found even in the hands of the nuns, the rishis, the sadhus, the proper archetype celibates? And if this line also tells about the line of marriage, like the way it has been written everywhere, then how come this line is also not found in the hands of those people who are married and even enjoying a matrimonial life, even have children? So the only counter explanation on this which I can give is that this union line tells about your profound relationships. So a nun who has devoted her life completely to God, she could also have this line. And someone who is married but has got married only for the sake of his family or for the sake of society, he would not have this line, because he is not in a profound and emotionally and mentally involved in that relationship. So this is how we can see it as. So Now coming to the part which is the point of discussion is love versus arranged marriage. So first we'll take the case of love marriage. So before I will start explaining to you people, so before I'll start explaining to you people the fortune telling part, the significations which trigger the circumstances and situations of love marriage, you first need to understand what are the the archetype personality traits, the inherent personality traits which can be found in someone's personality who could think about going for an arranged marriage, for a love marriage. And before I'll explain that, you need to just understand that that no matter even if we have evolved and the society has become too modern, but there are still those places even in India where this love marriage is still considered as taboo. Not even in India, even some part of Middle Eastern countries where love marriage or doing marriage against your against the wishes of your parents or doing marriage out of your caste is still considered as taboo. So we will first take the case of the archetype personality traits of an individual who could think about going for a love marriage. So the first thing is that that the people who could think about or who generally go for an arranged marriage, they will have this fate line beginning somewhere from this mount of moon. This could be one possibility because this is the portion of our imagination, of our our emotions. So having a fate line initiate and start from here just makes someone very popular, they make someone very imaginative, and also make someone's disposition very romantic. That remains to be the first point. Second remains to be, if you'll find the heart line in a very unafflicted and in a very good state, that too ending here at the mid of the ring finger and the middle finger. So this is a very ideal position of the heart line. So this could also be a sign that someone is very sentimental and someone's heart is very much open towards inviting loving relationship into his or her life. So that's the second condition. Third condition, like we have discussed, a good formed union line. Fourth, the color of the hand found to be pink. Pink is a color which tells about very cheerful disposition, very loving and cheerful disposition. So that remains to be the third condition. Four, if so, this is all what we have got to know, that someone is sentimental. That's the first criteria that we have discussed, that our subject native is romantic. Now comes the second part. In order to just go against the wishes of your family or do something which is considered as unorthodox in your family, so what are the combinations which we can see at? So the first thing is, these people would have so for that, the first combination is that these people would have their headline little bit separated from their lifeline. So that is the very first sign which tells that this person is very very rebel, this person is very brave. He is not someone among those who would think about what society will think about them. So whatsoever they want to do, they will do it with full force. So a gap between the lifeline and the headline is the first sign of bravery. Second sign is more than the normal gap between the little finger and the ring finger. So if you will see the hand of any normal person, or normally the hand remains like this, but in the case when you will find this little finger little bit extended and far away, little bit away from the ring finger, from the rest of the hand. So this is a sign that this person would remain to be very action oriented. So the first sign is a gap between the lifeline and the headline. Second sign is a gap between the little finger and the ring finger. That's the second sign. And the third sign is in both of the hands. If you'll count, so at the tip of the fingers you will find this sign of vole. So sign of vole in more than 6-7 fingers is a sign that this person has got very intense personality. So we have discussed that in for a love marriage, the traits which we need to look at is that the person should have a sentimental and romantic disposition. So we have seen how can we see that in the hand. Second is that the person should be rebel and brave enough to do something which is considered as unorthodox in his family. We have seen that the combination, there has to be whole, or which we also known as the chakra, in more than 6-7 fingers. The headline and lifeline will be little bit separated, and there will be gap between the little finger and the ring finger. So we have discussed all of that. So now comes the part, how can we see the signs of love marriage. So you know, when someone is running through the time of marriage, so you need to understand that all these major lines, they tell about someone's life path. Although with our change in subconscious thought process, change in our the way of thinking and way of behaving in outer life, we can even mold and change these lines. But majority of the fortune telling is done by the spotting of the influence lines, the minor trivial lines. So in case if you'll find at the time of the right time of the marriage, when someone is running the time of marriage, you will find as this remains to be the outside world, you will see these kind of small influence lines coming towards or touching the fate line. So that is the sign that this person at this particular point of time can expect the arrival of a romance, or expect the arrival of a lover into his or her life. So this is the first thing, sign which you need to look at, the arrival of and the coming of the influence line towards the fate line. Because the thing is, the lifeline and fate line tells 80% of the story of a person's life. So these influence lines are known and seen for the fortune telling. So anytime you will see these lines coming towards the fate line along with other positive signs. So let's say when you have spotted the spotted an arrival of a sign of cross on the next finger, so which is also considered as very lucky, and at the same time the union line is also promising a sign of an arrival of a spouse or a loving relationship. And at the same time you will spot a line of influence, line of association coming towards the fate line from the percussion side, from the outside of the hand, from this percussion side. So this means arrival of someone who's going to deeply affect your life, going to put a deep impact into your life. So that could be some guru, that could be in the form of some teacher, that could be in the form of a lover as well. In our context, this could be also in the form of a lover as well. So that is the sign which we can expect in terms of seeing love marriage via palmistry. Now comes the signs which we need to discuss, that is the archetype traits for arranged marriage. And before I'll start arranged marriage, one most important point to look at the love marriage is, like the way when we were discussing how to determine someone's sentimentality, how whether someone is romantic or emotional or not. So to understand that, we looked at the initiating point from where the fate line is starting. We looked at the condition of the heart line, and we also looked at the color of the hand. One more thing is which you need to look at is the shape of the hand. People with a water hand shape are more inclined towards getting into any romantic relationship, because water hand represents your emotions, your intuitiveness, your loving disposition. So water hand can be easily recognized as with a long palm and long fingers. So if you'll find this palm as long, not square, long in shape, your this width and this length. So your width is small and length is long of the palm. So a long palm and long fingers is an archetype water hand. So these will also remain to be very romantic. Now comes the part of an arranged marriage, or seeing someone who has got very traditional personality traits. So that can be seen as so in those cases, the first of all, you will find the heart line going towards, rather than at the middle, you will find it going towards the index finger, which would make these people very idealistic. That's the first sign. Second sign, you will find the fate line either starting from the lifeline or towards from the wrist, something like this. So that is also one more sign that this person would remain to be very rigid and very focused towards any aspect of his life. Third sign could be that this person would have so that is the first sign which we have discussed is the fate line starting from the wrist, the this line of heart line reaching till the index finger, making this person very idealistic. And third point could be that this person's lifeline and headline will be joined together. So something like this. So this, the inherent personality traits of this type would remain to be that this person would remain to be very much bound towards his the preferences and expectations of his family members, his parents. He will not be that too much of rebel towards any aspect of his life. Even the fingers of this person would remain to be very closely associated and closely held together, rather than this like with the wide gap in between the fingers. These fingers would remain to be very closely held together. So this is an archetype personality traits of someone who is born to have an arranged marriage. Now comes the part of the fortune telling. So this person's we can expect any line of influences, a line of association coming from the direction of Mount of Venus towards the thumb side. So lines like this coming and joining this fate line is a sign that this person can expect at this age of getting into an arranged marriage. So this is how we do the analysis or do the consultation while taking into consideration whether someone is made for a love marriage or for an arranged marriage. And one more thing, any point of time when we are doing the consultation, all other signs in the hand should be promising and indicating the same thing. And let's say, for example, two persons have come to you for the consultation and they want to know whether it's the right time for them to get married or whether are they the right soulmates. So for that, the hand should be, both of their hands should be promising the same thing. And one more thing, we need to check these combinations in both hand, because our passive hand, let's say I am a right hander, I use my right hand for writing, I use my right hand for doing any effort related work, so my right hand will be treated as my active hand. So this will tell about my conscious state of mind. And my left hand, which is my passive hand, will tell about my subconscious state of mind. So in order to do any prediction and in order to land to any conclusion, you need to check the signs in both the hands, because your left hand or your passive hand, like in my case, my left hand is my passive hand. So this is going to just tell about my desires, about my subconscious state. But in order to actually fructify the results, you need to see those signs and those combinations in both the hands. Then only you could land to conclusion. Or in the case of a couple who is just very very keen to get married or very keenly felt for each other, the sign should be promising in both of their hands. It's just not like that. If the sign of the guy only would be promising these things, then there is a possibility that the inclination would remain to be more from the guy's side. But if the sign on the girl's hand is not promising at that particular point of time, then the possibility of the fructification in the form of marriage would remain to be less. So this is all what I have to say on this. And like the way I say, the science of palmistry is a science of possibility. All these things can convert into the actual fruition of event only if your current path is continued. If any point of time you stop putting efforts, or if any point of time you are not doing the necessary adjustments in your relationships, then you just cannot expect the fruition of any prediction made on your hand by seeing the analysis or doing the analysis of your hand. So this is all what I have to say on this. I hope you guys found this video informational. For further more updates and notification on palmistry, please subscribe my channel, like my Facebook page. Thanks.